Can you hear me?
Now you're on mute.
Okay. We've all had a vision of someday giving a speech on stage and everyone being enthralled by our performance. That's why we are here, right? Language is undoubtedly a vital part for human connection, and it's probably the most powerful tool for networking. For this purpose, word choice plays an important role in communication. If connection is one of your goals, you should stop using obscure language, 模棱两可的英文，模棱两可的语言 such as abbreviated terms and internet slang. So why should you avoid obscure words when speaking? The simple answer is that these words alienate unfamiliar audiences and create confusion. It can make people who don't know them feel excluded or ignorant. I guess that's the point. First, let's look at abbreviated terms. Take this class for example. We were asked to give an SOT at the beginning of our speech and put an SOP at the end of our introduction paragraph. And we also need to give each body paragraph an OPOV. A lot of abbreviations. Do you know all of them? If I weren't taking this class, I would think that SOP meant standard operating procedure. Don't get me wrong, I love such terms. While using them can save time for the speaker or writer, outside their original context, they often take twice as long for the listener or reader to understand. Overusing them can distract and annoy your audiences and be regarded as pretentious, and nobody wants that. Next, let's continue with some other examples where cyber slang hampers understanding. Recently, I heard a funny story about LOL. LOL. Once a boy sent a message to his dad and wrote, I'll be back at home around midnight, lol. His dad misunderstood LOL as lots of love, and he felt it was so heartwarming. So one day, he sent a message to his son, writing, I'm so proud of you, LOL. As you can see, this situation literally makes us LOL. However, if the scenario was switched to a funeral and you said something like, I'm sorry for your loss, LOL, you could imagine how inappropriate that would be. Another example is ORZ, a Japanese slang which communicates frustration. This resembles a person kneeling down in despair. O is the person's head. R symbolizes their hands, and Z represents their legs. How ridiculous. Similarly, BJ4 is a Taiwanese speak, which means I won't explain. This is just because the sound of BJ4 is similar to the Chinese phrase for no explanation, 不解释. I always assume this is the movie Bridget Jones' Diary 4. Silly me. Some people use these expressions to appear creative and interesting. But the opposite is true. But quite the opposite is true. This is just miscommunication. If your creativity or joke can't be deciphered. Finally, let's see how we can solve this problem. The most practical way is to encourage a jargon-free culture and avoid creating endless acronyms and abbreviations. Get this. How many of you know that SCUBA stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus? People use Okay, Brian knows that. People use this excluded language to differentiate themselves from others and want to feel unique, cool, free, and even revolutionary. I know such words can be fun and seem easy to remember, and you may assume you are bonding with your peers. On the contrary, you are turning them away. In the end, communication is not a memory game or a tool to show off your lexical ability. You don't need fancy words, nor do you need inventive words to make your speech engrossing. Today, I've spoken to you about how ambiguous language affects communication. Jargon is meaningless unless you apply it in a proper context and explain the entire name first. Remember, speaking is not a measurement of intelligence. If you persist in using obscure vocabulary all the time, ultimately you will lose your audience. Thank you.
Everybody's doing short speeches. Okay, Belle, as always, great. It seems that you used 6 minutes to complain about my class.
I don't complain your class.
The SLT, the SLP. Yeah, it was great. It kind of makes sense. You know, the one thing that you do, I think, too much is you're smiling and happy.
Oh.
But it kind of makes sense with the speech. No, it makes sense because you're complaining about something, complaining. And I'm here and it's about me in the class. So it kind of makes sense because it's not really complaining.
Oh.
So, well, great job.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.